Jomo followers. It's Salma Hussain, the author of The Secret Diary of Mona Hasan, which is a funny novel about a young Pakistani girl's immigration and menstruation journey. She's living in the U.A.E. and she moves to Canada, mirroring the journey that I took myself many years ago. I'm finally back to tell you that story about how I got my literary agent in Canada. Okay, before I get to it, and I'm getting to it, I promise you, there's two things that I really do want you to know. According to this organization, the Writers Union of Canada, there's only about 30 literary agents in Canada, and you don't need to have an agent in Canada. There are many published writers who do not have an agent, who either begin without having an agent or who at some point change agents, and so there's a period of time they don't have one, or they decide lifelong not to have an agent. An agent really is useful and becomes necessary when you are publishing, when you're interested in publishing with one of the big 5 publishers. Otherwise, you can have a perfectly fine career without having an agent. So I just wanted you to know that. I also want you to check out the Writers Union of Canada. They're a great resource. If you're serious about writing, you should be following them. They have lots of really good resources and they're quite helpful. Okay, I'm getting to my story. So what happened is, for me, in 2020, I had been working on my novel very seriously for about 2 years. And by 2020, I had a very solid skeletal draft of about 40,000 words. And I applied to this organization. They run an event every year through the festival. It's called Festival of Literary Diversity. It's run out of Brampton, Toronto, Ontario. And for this event, you submit 10 pages of your manuscript and you get randomly paired with either a publisher with either an editor or an agent. And these are professionals from the publishing industry. They're volunteering their time. They give you 20 minutes of their time and they tell you what they believe is working or not working in your manuscript. It's just a way of them looking at the current talent that's out there and helping emerging authors. So I sent in my 10 pages and they were quite polished, I want you to know. And, pretty soon after I got a response. I had been randomly paired with an agent. She was with a very reputable agency. She sent me an email asking me for the rest of the manuscript. Of course, I got excited because I knew this is, if she likes the rest of the manuscript, she is very likely to offer representation. So I got very excited, but I did take 2 weeks. I asked for 2 weeks because my manuscript was not polished. And then when I sent it in, I was also very transparent and said, it's not really ready yet, but I'd love your feedback on it. And then then we exchanged the messages. She called me and we instantly had a very nice rapport. She grew up in Northeast Calgary, which, if you know, Calgary is a very desi area. Her husband grew up in Nova Scotia. We had all these connections. And we just genuinely got along. And I did what people advise you not to do, which is sign with the very first agent you talk to. But I did sign with her, and she was the very first agent I talked to. I felt she was very excited, very interested in my project. She got what I was trying to do. She liked the sense of humor that's in it. My book is based on a British classic called The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole's 13 3/4, and she's a big fan of that book. So she got it, and I just thought, here's a really good champion for my work, and that's how I signed with her. She's still my agent. I love her. So it worked out for me in this very annoyingly easy way, but I just want you to know that I think hard luck and preparation needs to meet luck, as they say, right? So there was that bit of luck where I chanced upon someone who's really passionate and who really understood the project, but the hard work had been put in there years before. I had already been writing, and I had brought chunks of it to a very polished state, and we were able to take it further. 6 months after that, she was able to sell it to a publisher. 6 months after that, I worked on it some more, and we got to that stage, and she sent it out, and it got picked up by Penguin Canada. And this is a very annoyingly easy story. I wrote one query letter. I wrote it for the full festival, and what I'm offering for Jomo followers is, if you send a DM to Jomo, I will email you my query letter, which you can use as a sample or a template or just look over. I really believe in transparency and sharing resources for new and emerging writers. So I'd love to share that with you, and I'd love for you to tell me what you would like me to talk about next time. So either drop a comment or DM Jomo, and we can continue this conversation, and hopefully we can learn and share from each other. And thank you so much for listening today. Thank you.